Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. I am Olivia Ekpone, joined with Ashley Tishins. What a weekend it was.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. We're going to dive into everything. We also have a very special guest. Graham Blanks is going to be joining us, and we're going to dive into the 5K NCAA records that went down. More highlights from the BU opener. Marathon went off. Awards were given. We're going to dive into it. But before we bring Graham on, Ashley, we got to thank our wonderful sponsors at Wonderful Pistachios. Are you guys looking for a delicious and nutritious snack? Crack into a good source of protein with tasty, healthy, Wonderful Pistachios. Each 1 ounce serving of Wonderful Pistachios contains 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. It's one of the highest protein nuts out there. But pistachios are also known for their fiber and their better for you unsaturated fats, which help you keep feeling fuller longer, Ashley. And you know what? That's not the best part. Wonderful Pistachio comes in a variety of flavors. If you know, Ashley and I are addicted to, well, you're addicted to the salt.
The sea salt and vinegar.
Sea salt and vinegar. I'm addicted to the honey roasted. They come in different sizes, and it's perfect for enjoying with your family and friends. So whether you're dropping the kiddos off, going in between exams, or maybe you're getting ready for the indoor season, you can fuel up with this wonderful snack. So check out wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more about how these little green wonders can brighten up your day. Without further ado, Ashley, who do we have? I know I already spoiled it.
You did spoil it already. Well, today we have Graham Blanks joining us. As most of y'all probably already know, he broke the NCAA indoor 5K record over the weekend at the BU opener. He ran 13:03.72, and just a crazy race. You know, a couple weeks ago, he won the NCAA cross country championships. The first time we've ever seen, an athlete from the Ivy League on the men's side win that race. So we're just excited to have Graham here, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, okay, so I feel like obviously we got to start off with the obvious news that happened this weekend. 13:03.72, basically just, if you're looking at that race, you ran away from that field over probably like the last 800 meters or so. Take us through that race approach and, also just break down how you're able to run that record-breaking time.
I mean, it was pretty hard not to on that day. I mean, been training since July or June and had perfect pacing, perfect track, perfect competition, and an amazing crowd. So just, like I said, we got pulled through 3K perfectly by the Pacers. And then, Kai Robinson and Sam Atkin did a lot of the heavy lifting instead of myself. So, it was nice. In the last 400 meters I saw, we were close to that Olympic standard. So I was just kind of like, let's just go for it. And thankfully snuck under there.
Okay, so coming off of NCAAs, and you already knew the field that you were stacked against, did you almost feel like you had a sense of pressure to win it, just knowing just a few weeks ago you won NCAAs?
Not really. I mean, there might have been a little bit of external pressure, but I try not to put too much pressure on myself. I mean, in the end, I'm just an NCAA runner, and I was just going in there to try to get a qualifier for NCAAs. So if I finished 10th in that race, obviously I wouldn't be over the moon, but as long as I got that qualifier, I would have been happy. So just having the opportunity to go on race was enough for me, and I didn't feel too much of that pressure, and thankfully I got to run a fast time.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk a little bit for a second, I think, just about your progression. Now, if you look at what you did last year, this meet you ran 13:18, great time, but now you go here, you're having, you had the best cross-country season of your career here, and now you run 13:03 5K record. Talk to us a little bit what that progression has been like for you, and maybe, how you're feeling now with where your season is going. Obviously, now you'll kind of, take a breather before you really ramp it up into indoor, but talk a little bit about that progression.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty obviously pretty unusually quick, I'd say, for a lot of the people that a lot of my opponents, I'd say, going from 13:18 to 03 in a year. That's something I have to credit to my coach. I mean, I've always thought I would have the ability to run that time, but to actually get there, that's in the training, and Coach Gibby got me there, and it's been something that's been good the past year has been some consistency in training. My body's been holding on for once, so knock on wood, it'll stay like that, because I think the longer you can stay on your feet with my coach's training, the better. And obviously that goes with anyone's training, but in particular, I've been feeling really good the past year, I've been able to put in some good workouts, and then it obviously helps to have BU in your back door, like right in your backyard. So that's definitely something I credit to my improvement, as well as to have everyone in the NCAA come to campus once a year.
Yeah, talked about that for a second. Okay, I kind of want to know, because everyone's always like, BU so fast. Why do you think it's so fast?
Yeah, I'm curious.
I mean, at first I thought it was just like a placebo effect. Like I was injured freshman indoor year, so I got to go watch the races and stuff. I'm like, it's BS. Like everyone just comes here, everyone runs fast. Like everyone's seen the videos of Yomif Kajelcha running here. Like whatever. Like once I get on this track, I'm gonna run fast. Like just because I believe in it. But then I remember after a race, my freshman year when I was still injured, I just took a walk on the track, and I got bounced up a little bit each step. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. This track is amazing. So I definitely say the bounce helps a lot. I mean, the banks are obviously, like, I've seen like research papers written on it. I didn't read the whole thing. Maybe I just read the abstract, but I know the banks are, like, for some reason optimal for distance races. But yeah, I mean, I do still think it's the competition is that what it makes it so fast. I mean, when everyone agrees to show up to one track for the entire indoor season, like, there's going to be quick times, but it doesn't hurt to have a track that's made out of trampolines and optimal banks.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to find that research paper, I think, just to dive into that.
We need to look into that a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Graham, as I mentioned before we went live, Ashley and I were at NXN, so we're literally in the Airbnb watching your race, and we're just like screaming at our computer screens. There was one point, so it's the last 400 meters. I don't know if you remember this, or there were certain points, like the last 1K, it almost looked like you were inching, like to make moves, but you didn't necessarily made them yet. It was not until you lapped the Alabama runner when you went wide, and then that's when you decided to go. What kind of led to that decision? Was it just that optimal window that you saw and you're like, since I'm already out here, I might as well go? Or just walk us through what was that move like for you at that time?
Yeah, I mean, I knew going into the race I'd want to go with like anywhere between a K to 400 meters, just depending how I felt. I'd say if I remember correctly, that the pace was still pretty hot the last K, so I wasn't really too pressed on taking the lead to ensure a fast time or anything. But I knew if I wanted like my best shot at winning the race, it'd probably be 400 meters out at the minimum to make my move. So. I think it was Victor Kiprop that we passed, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think those are usually good times to make moves when there's little discontinuities in the race. You can kind of get a jump on the field. So when I saw him coming up on the track, I was like, okay, this is probably when we need to go, because he was in lane 1. Sam Atkin had to move out into lane 2, and I'm like, well, if we're moving out, I might as well just go now. Mm-hmm. And then just tried to hit the gas for home. I wasn't really even looking at the clock at that point. I just knew it would be fast if I could get there quick enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then describe that moment. You finish. You look at the clock, 13:03. The energy in there, I'm sure, was crazy. You take a bow. Talk about that whole moment and stuff, and what went down there once you finished.
Yeah, I figured it was time to finally do something a little flashy, or like a little bit of at least a slither of showmanship, because I haven't really had the best celebrations or anything. Just paying my respects to the crowd. I don't know. I thought that would be a classy enough celebration in the moment, but the crowd is great there. So I think that was the best way to recognize that, at least.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have a side tangent real quick. I have a question to ask you. Okay, I have to know, like, maybe I'm just like old. I mean, I'm 23, but maybe I'm just too old and not with the times. But like, what's with the hand signal that you do at the start line? I know you did it at NCAA's, and then you did it at NXN as well. I've seen it all over No Contact, so I kind of have to know.
Yeah, don't worry. It's definitely not what the cool kids are doing. It's just something I've always done. In fact, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I just did it at the NXN. That was the first time I was at a race, and all of a sudden a camera got put in my face. So I think I maybe like an uncle or something taught me that at Thanksgiving, because I know NXN's a couple of weeks after that. but yeah, I just stuck with it because my friends back home thought it was funny. So uh, it's fun. It's fun to do when the camera's coming by, and especially in those big races at the NCAA meets. I'm nervous. My teammates are nervous. It's a good way to cut the tension a little bit. Maybe even look forward to being on the line, which is probably the worst part about running, is stepping up to that line, waiting for the gun to go off. So yeah, I think I'll keep that thing in the rotation till the end of my career, unless I find a better magic trick that I can pull out before a race.
That was another question.
That's another question I have. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the magic side of you, the magician side? I heard that's something that you're kind of into, and now you just brought it up. So how did that kind of get started for you?
No, I'm not. Nothing is magic about me. I want to make that clear. This is just a little trick I learned. So, I hope that I can make myself look magic in my races, but all I can do is pull my thumb off every now and then. So,
are you into magic though? Are you into it though? Like magic just as a whole?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I mean, I watched the movie The Prestige. I'm not sure if y'all have heard of that movie.
Yes. Yes.
I would recommend. Okay. Yeah. That was a good movie. So, that's about as deep into the magic industry that I've gone. So
I gotcha.
Pretty shallow, but that was a really good movie.
Mm-hmm. Now I want to take it back a little bit because you just mentioned like you've been training since July. It's already, it feels like probably for you already long season. You're going through finals right now. After your performance at NCAA's, how are you just feeling mentally and physically, just kind of after that cross country season and then going into BU?
Yeah, honestly, pretty ready to just wrap it up at that point. I mean, if in an ideal world, I would love if the free market shifted the fastest 5K actually into the indoor season instead of before it. So, but you gotta show up where everyone else is. So, and obviously there's some amazing pros to running a race right away. You get to use that cross country base and all of that. But after NCAA's, I was kind of just ready to go ahead and kind of take a rest. I wasn't burnt out or anything, but I basically accomplished my goals. So just getting to run a collegiate record was really a cherry on top, and not something I was like passionately burning for or anything. I just wanted to qualify for NCAA's, but getting to run an Olympic standard, I mean that's probably the biggest thing I take away from that race. So that's exciting to have in my back pocket going into the rest of the track season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I saw too that you said, I believe in one interview, no internships this summer. You're going to be trying to qualify for the Olympics. So now that you have that standard, is that something you're kind of just maybe is that more in the back of your mind now too?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely kind of solidifies what I'm doing this summer. I mean, normally I would seek something to keep me busy, but the Olympic trials are such a late meet that I don't think I would take any big job or anything. I'll probably continue I actually I'm a research assistant with a professor at the business school named Paul Gompers, who is a really accomplished runner here as well. So it's fun to get to talk to him after all my races and stuff. So maybe he'll let me stay on board this summer so I can stay in Boston with Gibby and just get ready for the trials.
Awesome. And Graham, I have to know, because you've just had a tremendous season already, winning NCAAs, breaking the indoor 5K NCAA record. Which performance do you think really just is, I know you just said icing on the cake, but which one do you feel like really just puts that punch to the season already for you? Which one would you say stands out the most?
NCAA's championships, last forever.
Yeah.
That record will probably be gone, and I'm not a betting man, but I'd say a good line is 1 year over under for that record. So
ooh, okay.
NCAA is only getting faster, and it's exciting, and I hope that I'm inspiring some at least other Americans to run fast, because I think we're entering a pretty fast age of track. So, but championships they last forever. So I'm happy with the NCAA performance.
Love that.
That's true. Fair answer. All right, before we let you go, we always ask our guests this like one question: track or cross country? Which one do you like better, and why?
Cross country. I mean, I love. I recognize that. I mean, that's about as good as it gets with the NCAA. I mean, for cross country, like one of the biggest stages is the NCAA. I mean, obviously you have World Cross Country, and then I feel like the British people have some good stuff going on over there. But in terms of like the team dynamic, I mean, it's just I feel like it's unmatched. So I'm really trying to soak up everything about the cross country experience, because it is a lot of fun to train with the guys in the fall and the summer and race for each other. Track has that same feel, and it's really cool to also be able to be teammates with people that aren't doing your same events or training. But cross country is obviously just like a distance runner's dream. So I do like that more, just with the team aspect. But don't get me wrong, I love track as well.
Awesome. Well, I love all of that. Graham, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're having your finals week, so wishing you all the best with finals and as you continue the season. We're excited to see what you do. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Graham.
You too.
Awesome. How wonderful it was to see Graham Blanks after, grabbing the NCAA title and then breaking the indoor 5K NCAA records. Super spectacular. He wasn't the only one that broke records at the BU opener. Goodness gracious. Parker Valby.
Goodness, I don't know what to say.
I'm speechless.
However, was it really that much of a shock? Really? I don't know.
I think for me, it's just like the fact that it was like the first indoor race.
Well, think about it. They're coming off of their fitness from cross country.
I get it, but still, that's still moving, fast.
Anyways, let's break down what happened here in this women's 5K at the BU opener. You have Parker Valby. We have some video here for finishing that race. She becomes the first woman in NCAA history to ever go under 15 minutes for 5K indoors. She clocks 14:56:11, and here you are. You can see her just, look at this crowd energy here, and she was just, she was on a tear.
Just incredible, and everyone's just like on their feet. You can see people clapping and cheering, and even just, like I mentioned, we were at NXN and we're watching this, and it's just like you can hear the emotion in the room of everyone jumping. Oh, I love this celebration too. It was just like she knew exactly where to go after, ran straight and was hugged and was celebrated. Like 14:56 is incredible.
Yep, and it destroys the top performances all the time. If you're looking at number 2, that's Emily Sisson there. She ran 15:12 in 2015.
Yeah.
14:56, which now makes you wonder, of course. Obviously they're coming into this off of their cross-country fitness. This is kind of that ideal time to run something really fast. But now it makes you wonder, what else is she going to do this indoor season?
Literally my next question for you is, what are we going to see from her now?
Could we see her drop to the 3K and go after a record there?
That's what I'm saying.
Are we there's a lot at play.
And it's just like the fact that she ran that, and it was just remarkable. And then the second fastest collegiate was Hilda Ulomayo from Alabama, 15:17, and it was just insane to even think about. And that's why I'm my brain is just spinning. And I know you bring up a valid point of they're coming off great fitness right now with cross country. Graham even mentioned he's exhausted. These athletes have been training, they're ready for a break. The holidays are coming up, kind of reset. Distance runners kind of running a couple of indoor meets here and there, focus more on outdoor. But she is fit.
Yeah. However, I find it interesting that I listened to an interview afterward, I think, or I saw something maybe on Twitter or something like that, where she said, afterwards she didn't think she was at that kind of fitness level. She thought maybe it would even hurt to run 15:20. Let's remember, I think, when we were previewing this, we were like, Parker Valby, she hasn't raced much indoors in her career because she was injured much of last year. Again, had been dealing with injuries and hadn't done much indoor, and so. I think that was her second time competing at BU, and so I thought that was really, really interesting that she thought she couldn't run 15:20 maybe, and then she runs 14:56.
It's incredible what energy in a venue can do, and having the right coaching, the right atmosphere, and the fitness level can all just help make that easier, which is super
and it does make
incredible.
A difference. I think that having a crowd like that, some competition like that too. Again, you have all the the top All-Americans from NCAA cross coming here and competing as well, and the BU track, it's newly resurfaced.
Yes.
So
That also does help.
Those are all great little factors playing into their favor.
Agreed. All right, I know we just spoke with Graham, but I feel like we need to watch the end of his video as well. It was just, I remember screaming at the computer screen.
We were at the Airbnb in Portland, and we were watching, and this was an interesting race. So like kind of what Graham said, he really let Kai Robinson and some of the pacers just do all the work from him at the very beginning, and it really wasn't until maybe 1K or 800 meters where you can see him. You saw him slowly inching up.
Yeah.
Right, and then this is when all of a sudden he starts to hit another gear with 400 to go, with 2 laps to go. He just takes off.
Yes.
And again, that was such a very interesting race, and as you can see,
he
literally
looks so
sprinting.
good right now. Like the form isn't breaking. He looks very strong in these closing few meters.
Obviously, the race approach worked perfect to a T there. At one point, I think it was at this point, I was like, will he break 13? He was close.
He was close. I think you did say that too. You can see his teammates just like wheeling him in to go and to keep going, and the energy was just out of this world. What's impressive is not only did
there's the bow.
There's the bow. Love it. Clenching of the fist. He knew he did it. What is really impressive is not only did Graham Blanks go underneath the NCAA record, but Kai Robinson did as well with 13:06. Absolutely insane race. And we talked about the Olympic standard, and Kai, bittersweet moment for Kai. Running as fast as he did, just a second off of the Olympic standard, which is 13:05.
He also went under that previous record of 13:08 too. So he broke the that record.
Yeah,
which,
they went 1-2 there.
And kudos to him, because again, like I mentioned, he did a lot of that work for the majority of that race. Sitting behind those pacers, and then once they dropped, he was leading that entire thing.
Exactly. Still hung in there. Great run for both gentlemen. It's just, gosh, the indoor season is just starting, and it's already getting so exciting.
And I did find it interesting, and when we were talking with Graham, he was like, I give it 1 year, and that record will be gone.
Do you believe that?
Shoot, it could even go down this year. Who knows? We just saw Kai Robinson run 13:06, only 3 seconds back.
Yeah.
It would just depend on what kind of race you get in. You're probably not going to see that at a championship level meet, because it's going to all come down to tactics.
Yes, very tactical.
So that was probably the chance. But yeah, probably this meet next year.
That's why I was really excited to ask him, he kind of answered my own question, because I was curious if he was like, with that pressure of running NCAAs, you're about to line up against, essentially the top finishers at NCAAs. Are you going for a fast time? Or are you trying to get the win here to solidify, hey, I'm that dog?
This is the meet where you're getting that time.
He's like, I'm going for the time, and I feel like when you have that mentality of just kind of going after it, the times are going to come. And like you said, Kai just did a great job of, putting in all the work and setting himself up great. Blanks just had the kick.
It was the kick, and then just the tactics of knowing when to put that kick into place, right? Recognizing that he had that extra gear to really tap into.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts on the 5Ks?
Just chaos.
Chaos. Straight chaos. Let's shift gears. We got to talk about the 3K. And let's start at the top of the dock here with Nico Young. This guy, I feel like, had a workout. He had a double. He had the 5K, 3K double here.
Yeah, we need to talk about this for a second. So we see Nico Young in the here you are. First off, can I mention, I don't think I've ever seen Nico have an extra kick like this before.
It was amazing.
He went from 4th, all of a sudden he's kicking around, and he takes home his 3K win.
It's the pure determination in the face for me.
Yes, and he won in 7:37.73. Amazing time. And it's just, again, a wild last kick. Kudos to Nico. He's been working on a kick for indoor, I guess.
He's ready.
Track.
But the double.
We do need to talk about the double.
Let's talk about the double real quick.
Obviously, we saw that this was happening, and then we watched the first heat of the 5K, where obviously we saw Graham Blanks do what he did.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we see the second heat go off.
I'm like, actually, that's Nico.
And I was like, wait a second. He ran earlier. And maybe I was thinking he was just going to pace this as a workout or something like that.
I thought that too.
Maybe this was a workout for him. Maybe 13:22 could likely only be a workout for him. But still, that's an insane double.
Yes. Finishing 10th. But still, the fact that he went 13:22.
I have a feeling
7:37.
He's now going to be ready for a break.
What? The last 200 meters was insane. Nico with the double, grabs the 3K win, pure determination on his face. However, we have to talk about Olivia Markovich, who runs the NCAA number 2 all-time in the 3K with an 8:40.42. Ashley, just what are our takeaways from this race?
I have a lot of takeaways here, right? I think it's pretty obvious here that Olivia Marquez, that she is the real deal, the real deal. And it also, let me try to explain this here. It makes me wonder, so she won NCAA steeplechase last year.
Yes.
Outdoors. We were there, we saw that happen.
Right.
Seeing how she ran this 3K indoors, now I'm like, all right, once outdoor comes around, what is that 3K steeple going to look like?
Yeah.
And especially in a year where it's an Olympic year, she could have a real legit chance to make that Olympic team going to Paris if she has that type of fitness and it can translate over to steeple come spring. I know that's a while away, but that was like one of my first thoughts that I had after seeing this.
Yes, and I know we're watching the video right now, and she's currently sitting in third. The top two, I know as the race unfolds, like they dropped out. They were pacers set up for this race. My takeaway is she's in top fit shape right now, and I know, as we mentioned, they're coming off NCAAs, looking very, very strong, but I feel like Olivia just looked super comfortable, and with the pacing duties out in front, like, this was Olivia's race to win, and as the race unfolded, you just see her add that separation, which was absolutely nuts, and the fact that it was the number 2 all-time performance is just wild to even think about at the beginning of this year, too.
Again, crazy, just all-time performances going down. We should have known this. It's BU.
It's BU.
Newly resurfaced BU.
I understand that, but these individuals are also like putting in the work.
Very talented.
Very talented too. So I don't want to like take it away from them. I know the track is really big and known for putting out really fast performances, and there's other things that play into a role with it. But these guys are ready to go. Like, they're ready to attack every opportunity they can to compete. So any other thoughts on BU, Ashley? Because this meet was insane. 3Ks were wild. NCAAs
even the miles were fast. I think the women's mile was won in 4:33, and the men's mile was run in 3:55. I mean, just I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It was just very fast. Very fast.
Speaking of very fast as well, the Valencia Marathon
yes.
also took place over this weekend. It occurred Sunday. It was 11 p.m. our time, Pacific, midnight, 1 a.m. Eastern. It was just nuts. Great performances. I think the biggest headline here was Josh Chiktoge marathon debut, and he holds the 5K and 10K world records, but found that the second half of this marathon to be very, very challenging. He was in that front pack at the beginning for that first half, coming in about 60-35, but finished with the 2:08:59 and had to drop away from that lead group as well.
Yeah, I think a lot was made about what is Joshua Cheptegei going to do, since he has been so dominant at the 5K and 10K at World Championships and such over the past few years. And, you know, I think it's one of those things where it's not always like someone's going to go out there and have like the debut marathon of their lives, right? Like
right.
It's such a, it is a big jump to go from
it's
5K, 10K to a marathon.
To a marathon, yes.
And
it's huge.
I think he can learn some lessons from this.
Absolutely.
I mean, he put himself up there in that front pack. He gave himself a chance, like he was going to go after something fast. And even then, like, 2:08 solid.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like the fastest. I mean, we're seeing 2:04 and below so common now. But I feel like this is something he can learn from.
Exactly. I never see things as failures. I see them as lessons. And I think that might be just how my brain is, like, positively, like, stemmed. But it's like, I feel like if you don't give yourself that opportunity to toe the line and to put yourself out there, you're never going to know what you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
So I definitely applaud him for, attacking that debut. And
but
as you mentioned, learning.
I was going to say, and even if you're looking at the results as a whole from Valencia, I mean, it was just a fast day in general.
It was
if you're
a very
looking
fast day.
At the women's race, you had Worknesh Degefa. She won in 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 51 seconds, which is the 7th fastest marathon of all time.
Yes.
Kind of going along with this trend of the fall that I think of seeing these women just, set the standard, set that bar even higher.
Yeah.
For the women's marathon. Then if you're looking at the men's race, you had Tsay Lema, who won the London Marathon in 2021.
Yeah.
And he held off everyone and won in 2 hours, 1 minute, 48 seconds, which I believe was a course record. So
yes. And that's the 4th fastest in history. And also on top of that, led 6 other men under 2:05. Just incredible.
I mean, I expected something fast to happen in Valencia. Valencia is always fast, let's be real. It's like the kind of like that last marathon of the year that you're seeing that's going to be flat and fast. It reminds me a lot of Berlin in ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just it's hard. I feel like we're in this mode, right, where it's like, oh my gosh, all this happened indoor. Oh my gosh, we still got marathons going on. All this happened in marathons. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
We're in a stage, I feel like, in the running, at least the distance running world, where obviously we're seeing, the fastest things ever.
Yes.
Like I said, the bar is being set to a whole new level.
It's a whole new level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's beautiful in the sport to just see it just continuously get faster and these athletes getting stronger, and of course with new technology as well with these shoes and things of that nature. It just gets really interesting. I want to stay on this topic of marathons because big news kind of broke out over this weekend. USA Track and Field may not follow the trials results when it comes to the third men's spot. Therefore, the U.S. might not guarantee 3 Olympic men's marathoners. That is huge. And I kind of want to know your thoughts, and I think to also just kind of give some context, like World Athletics changed their standards from what they did in 2020 to 2000 for this upcoming Olympic year in 2024. It started out at a 2:11:30. They dropped it now to 2:08:10. And right now there's 2 guaranteed spots for the U.S. Like, let's just say
because they have
the standard.
Yeah.
They're going to finish, let's just say hypothetically they finish in the top 2. Connor Mance and Clayton Young, they've already hit the standard. They did that at the Chicago Marathon in October. The next highest ranked American is Scott Fable, who's ranked number 61 based off of the road.
I think he's number 66.
Oh, 66, excuse me.
Yes.
Based off the Road to Paris list. And
you have guaranteed 64 spots on that list
yes.
to qualify. So he is on the outside looking in. And if you're looking at what happened, I think you were going to break this down, but when you look at what happened this weekend at Valencia, you had some others, I believe, that jumped that list
yes.
from other countries.
Exactly.
So now they're moving up the ranks, and so now it's like, oh gosh, now the U.S., like,
I don't know. What are our thoughts on this? Because also when you look into like the USA Track and Field language behind like how they're going to go about this, like it's not really, in my opinion, it's not really that clear. To an extent. And it's also, it's 23 pages, it's lengthy. I feel like this hurts our sport so much because it's like you automatically think mentally, top 3 are going. Top 3 are going.
See,
but I also understand that there's this Olympic standard that you must hit.
It's one of these things where I get it, but I also don't. Because then it's like, all right, what's the point of doing the trials anyways? Because you're going to send Connor and Clayton anyways, and if that third spot, if no one's in it, and you're only going to send 2, like, what's even the point? You know what I mean? It's like
I hear you. I hear you.
So I kind of have an issue with it for that reason.
It's like if you already know we're taking Connor and Clayton.
So then it brings up the scenario like, okay, so say Connor and Clayton blow up or just decide to they don't get in that top 3. Well, they have the standard and they have the world ranking, so they'll just go. Well, I guess according to the selection, will they go through? I guess they will.
It's almost like a guarantee because you have to hit the A standard, right? Like you have to do that, and then because just of how we do it here in the U.S., like it's also that top 3 finishes, so it makes it even that much more challenging to be like, okay, well. If you don't have the standard and you get 3rd, you're not guaranteed to go. And I think Natasha Rogers, when they were talking about this in her post-race interview at Worlds, they were talking about the selection process and just like, is at one point something about her like not hitting the standard, and then I think she hit the standard at some point, so she was like, okay. But like it's this whole process and it's almost confusing and it's not simple. It's like rankings are now in play.
Again, it's just
going off
annoying.
Rankings.
Yeah. And so I'm looking in the live chat. I think you were right about 61 because now I'm reading. So he is technically 66, but if you remove the countries ahead that have more than 3 athletes already,
I see.
Does that make sense? So technically he's in the top 64. So I get that now.
Okay.
But anyways, again, that doesn't change the argument. Again, it's like, well, what if he finishes 5th? Does he still go? I guess he would still go because he technically is in the top 60. Yeah. He doesn't have the standard, but he's top 64.
Oh, sorry, my brain was like on.
There's a lot of moving parts here.
There's a lot of moving parts.
I don't know. It's just interesting.
It's very interesting.
And I personally don't know how I feel about it.
So it's almost like he has to hit the standard like at trials. That's the only way that this would make it not complicated.
But okay,
and then you have to finish top
let's
3.
Be real. Let's
but
be
I
real.
know.
Who is going to be hitting the standard?
That's what I'm saying. That's the only way. That's my point.
Orlando.
That's my
in
point.
February.
That's my point. That's literally that is the only way that this becomes simple. Standard has to be hit at trials in February in Orlando, Florida.
I don't know. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
I'm right there with you. That's why I'm like, it just makes this even more fun.
I just wish the USATF can make just things clearer. There's always issues, I feel like. There's always issues. Come on, man. Like, again, what's the point of the trials if you're just going to send the people that already have the ranking and the standard anyways? Mm-hmm. What's the point? I guess just for people to go run. Have fun.
Have fun. All right. Well, on a much lighter note, on a better note, USATF announced their athletes of the year. They had this huge celebration over the weekend. We want to highlight Sha'Carri Richardson and Noah Lyles for being the male and female athlete of the year. Let's talk about Noah Lyles first. Just an incredible season that he had. 3. That's all I'm going to say. 3. Just did a great job winning the 100, winning the 200 at Worlds, anchoring the 4x1 to victory. Just super spectacular about that. And then Sha'Carri, double wins here, earns the Female Athlete of the Year and the USA Track and Field World Championship Track Performer Wing Award, which was incredible as well. I'm not really surprised by either one of these picks. Are you surprised?
No. I'm not. I have a question here.
Yeah, ask the question.
I'm like looking back at the history of these awards. It's like, come on, it's always given to a sprinter, which I get it, but like,
Who else would you?
Come on, what about Ryan Crouser? He had like the year of his life outdoors.
Very dramatic end to it too.
Exactly. He's throwing through a freaking blood clot at Worlds, wins the World Championship. Come on, like, what else does this guy have to do? That's all I have to say. I get it. Noah Lyles, you won your 3. I'm not discounting that, but sometimes I do wish maybe we could see some more other athletes in the mix that aren't sprinters.
I see.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a hot take.
I don't think it's a hot take. I see how it gravitates towards sprinters more. Mm-hmm. Maybe they should have had like a double field event, like field event athlete of the year, track event athlete of the year type of ordeal.
Yeah.
Share some love to like the field events.
Okay, I was looking back just now. I was trying to like look back through the history of the winners. 2022, Sydney McLaughlin.
Okay.
And Noah Lyles.
Okay.
2021. I'm still looking.
Okay. While you look at that, also huge shout out, just because I have the Instagram pulled up and this is the page where I'm at. Shanti Jackson, who we've talked about before on the show. She's a freshman at Arkansas, won the Youth Athlete of the Year, set 3 national high school records, earned 2 Pan American U20 golds, and I feel like deserves that award too for all that she's done as the youth athlete. All right, with that being said.
Okay, wait, actually,
so
Ryan Crouser won in 2021. Okay, maybe I'm overreacting for no reason.
But I think it's fair though, because like I think when you hear the story of like what happened to Ryan Crouser, how he was like debating, whether or not he was going to compete or not, throwing with a blood clot.
What does he have to do? What does he have to do? That's all I'm saying.
Super incredible, though.
Someone said in the chat, it's because Crouser doesn't have a Netflix special on him.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I mean, hey, Noah Lyles got his whole Peacock segment, so.
He did.
It was kind of maybe in the works.
I'm trying to think, on the ladies' side, who else would you have picked, though? Instead of Sha'Carri?
I mean, I guess you got to go with Sha'Carri. But it's also like, I mean, it's just hard for me, right? It's like obviously she won the big one.
Yeah.
She won the big one.
Yeah.
I guess you would go with that, but I don't know. Sometimes I like consistency. I like a little bit. But also it's one of those years where, like, Sydney didn't run at Worlds. If she had ran at Worlds, I think Sydney wins this award, obviously. What we saw her do in the 400 at trials, or not trials, USA's.
Yeah.
If she had actually been healthy and ran at Worlds, she would have gotten this award.
You think so?
Absolutely. But that's just my personal opinion.
Interesting.
I mean, she's won it the past 2 years, so.
That's a great. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the year. Like, with Sha'Carri winning the 100, third in the 2, being on the 4x1, Sydney would have been arguably 400 champ, probably on the relay. It would have been pretty tight.
Correct.
Sha'Carri would just have one up because of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, like, Sydney did something really, like, mind-blowing.
Also, maybe another scenario I could have seen happening, if a thing had won the world championship, she would have gotten this award. She broke her own American record at Prefontaine.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 2 double whammies. Like, I think that's what, if that had happened, she would have won. But, I mean, there's always what ifs.
There's a lot of what ifs.
The could haves.
The could haves, the what ifs.
I don't know. Again, that's just my mind. Just I'm like, maybe it's because I'm not in the sprinting world. I know you are.
I know. See, for me, I'm like, yeah, Sha'Carri. But, like, what if Thingmo, like you said, what if?
Just the what if. The what if, the could have.
But still, great athletes across the board there.
Absolutely.
So,
congratulations.
Yeah,
I
congratulations
know just
to everyone.
Being critical, but congratulations.
No, but I think it's great conversation to think about, like, what else, who else could have been an individual to receive this award, because the U.S. is just so dominant in athletics that it could have gone to different people.
Correct.
So I think it's great. Awesome. Well, it was a jam-packed weekend. I feel like my brain is just about to explode.
It hurts. There's a lot going on.
There was a lot happening. Even on the
should we briefly just mention NXN?
We should. Yes.
What did you enjoy about NXN?
Oh man, it was raining the whole entire time. I think you and I were just very excited for the girls' race. It was like, to see history like that be made was incredible. Colorado teams 1, 2, 3 on the girls' side, from Air Academy to Niwot to Mountain Vista. I don't think we've seen 1 through 3 before. We've seen 1, 2 from different states over the last several years. Nothing with 1 through 3. Colorado went 1, 2 individually with Addie Ritzenhein, who's a sophomore.
I was going to say,
goodness
watch out,
gracious.
Addie Ritzenhein. Dathan knows what he's doing, obviously. So
incredible. Bethany Mahalik had the race of her career this weekend. Like, again, as I mentioned before, she's had some ups, she's had some downs. But I told you when we were at the course, I was like, I'm praying history repeats itself, because she finished 3rd last year having an up and down season, got 2nd behind Addie. You can see the emotion in those ladies' faces, and it was just incredible to just see that history happen. Like, absolutely remarkable. And then everyone was talking about Danny Simmons and American Fork, and it just was not their day.
No.
Danny was kind of in the mid-pack and never essentially moved himself up to set him up to be that national champion. But JoJo Jordan, goodness gracious.
He took advantage.
He took advantage of the opportunity and did that. And also Mr. Neal as well. Really impressed with him. Top 3 finish there. But Harriman, it took NXN to get the dub over American Fork.
Yep. So it was interesting. It was a fun time. Very muddy.
Yeah.
Very muddy.
I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of just, you asked me my favorite part. Okay. My favorite part was just seeing Colorado just be dominant. What was your favorite part about NXN?
I don't know. It was all good.
It was all good.
I like the upsets sometimes, or like not upsets maybe per se, but just some of the more unexpected storylines emerge, and I think that's what happened. Nothing like exactly. It didn't go to plan exactly how everyone thought. Yeah.
We did have a chance to talk with an athlete, Sadie Englehart, who goes to Ventura High School in California, and she was like, if y'all have not seen the video, I need you to go look at the videos on our social channels, because it was a complete mud fest. It was muddy everywhere. There was essentially a pond that these kids had to run through. So I'm almost curious on so my point in this was saying, like, if Sadie was saying if the conditions were different, it would have been a different race. She was just like, the top people that you thought were going to be in the top were not there. So what would have happened if, like, let's just say it was not a rainy week in Portland, how that outcome would have changed.
Yeah. it would have changed,
Yeah.
most likely. But
Just insane.
instead we got very
Still,
soggy
regardless,
ground.
a great weekend
Yes.
of cross country. So we have one more cross country race of the year, and we can finally say we are.
Foot Locker will end the
Foot
cross
Locker is
country
going to
season.
end
That's it.
all of this. Indoor is amongst us. I'm pumped.
Speaking of which, we will have 2 indoor meets live this weekend, the Holiday Open and the Susquehanna Early Season Invite.
Perfect. So make sure you stay.
Indoor continues. We're in indoor now.
We're officially indoor. So make sure you stay to FloTrack for all of that content, live streams, all the things. Ashley,
Correct.
great show.
Yes.
Fantastic show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe. Again, stay to FloTrack for all your content, live streams, recaps, everything that you need to know about your favorite sport. I'm Olivia Panay, Ashley Tishins, and we will see you next week.